here's your chance. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Vegas so you can hear me talk about tech, entrepreneurship, life, and so much more with Gary Vaynerchuk. So welcome to the show, Gary. You often talk about how everyone judges people by their current success. Now, we might have a few people listening that just know Gary V is the guy that has over 10 million online followers and wants to buy the jets, thinking, I want what he has, but want it right now, and they're struggling to progress forward on their path. For those people, can you tell me more about your journey, your struggles, your challenges, and your moments where you wanted to give up, and how actually those moments actually shaped you and created your success?
It's an interesting thing because I think that so much of who I am today is the byproduct of the great fortune of finding what I love and being good at it, which is not something that everybody finds. So just to address the last part, I never want to come on here and not be authentic. There's never been a day since I started my career, which was the day after school, college, at my dad's liquor store, but then 8 years earlier when I was a stock boy in that liquor store, there was never a day where I ever considered even remotely close to quitting. There are plenty of I think somebody who truly finds what they're great at and what they love have terrible days at the micro level all the time. There's never been any close momentum in my mind of, I don't want to be an entrepreneur anymore. I don't want to do this. There's some things I want to do. So look, I was born in the Soviet Union. I came to the States when I was 3. We were very poor, 8 family members in a studio apartment, poor, not buying anything but food, clothes, and shelter, and none of the 3 of them were fancy. Mm-hmm. I grew up very, very humbly, was a very entrepreneurial kid, lemonade stands, baseball cards. Eventually got into my dad's liquor store. My dad, worked every minute of my childhood until he was able to save up and buy a liquor store in New Jersey. I learned a lot in the sports card business of collecting. And once I understood at 16 that people collected wine, I was able to connect 2 passions of mine, which was one, how do I give back to my incredible parents who, really did a lot for me? And 2, this real love of flipping, right? Like buying, seeing things go up. I understand that mentality. Launched one of the first e-commerce wine businesses in America in 1996, long before most people did. Was a pioneer in email and Google search and YouTube and .com marketing. And then when my wine show started on YouTube was the first time people started to ever hear of me, really outside the wine and spirits business world. Yeah. And then Twitter, I became one of the fast movers on that and became one of the most followed people on that platform, and that was a big play for me. And then I started a marketing agency with my brother in 2009 called Vayner and that's when the whole Vayner thing started. Lots of companies, lots of entrepreneurial ventures over the last decade. Every single day, today, 7 to 10 pretty substantial headache. I manage 1,000 people, London, New York, LA, this fall, Singapore. So it's a global company. I have multiple companies under the VaynerX umbrella. So Vayner Media, 1:37 p.m., Pure Wow, which are publishing companies, Vayner Speakers, speaking bureau, Tracer, an ad platform, tech platform. So, for anybody who's listening, people get close to quitting when people overextend themselves financially and get into trouble, when somebody they love very dearly gets sick, or when they're just genuinely not doing something they enjoy and they're doing it for the money. The reason so many people burn out is because they're doing it for the money. Yeah. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm grateful that what I'm good at and what I love creates financial upside, but Jesus, I'd be super pumped making $63,000 a year buying stuff at garage sales and flipping them on eBay. That's probably the closest I ever get to thinking about giving it all up. I sometimes do think, what would it be like to be a full-time garage sailor? Other than that, I'm really not joking. It's funny. The other day I was thinking about it. I was like, I may it's funny that that's where my brain went. I said, I might actually do that one day. That would freak everybody out. And then I'm like, wow, I'm probably at a place now that if I did that, then inevitably there'd be the Netflix show. It would just I would start over and it would take me I think about that stuff. I'm like, I'd probably be bigger than ever because I'd be a motivation to millions. He gave it all up to do what he loved most, going through people's trash in their backyard on a Saturday. Yeah, I mean, I think happiness needs to become more of the ROI. And I think if you're a true bred entrepreneur, not the current version, because there's so many people right now that want to be an entrepreneur because it's cool. Yeah. But if you're a true bred entrepreneur, you almost have no other option. Like, to me, getting a job feels exactly like you telling me right now to go to outer space and jump off the moon. Like it's completely not in the cards. And so what else are you going to do?
So when you look back now, especially at just how far you've come, what do you think that you've done differently that's helped you succeed where so many others have failed?
I'm obsessed with giving more than I take. Yeah. And I'm completely and utterly not driven by money. And I think that is during a time where everything's being documented and people are watching. I think that I've gotten extra credit for being a human being who's a good businessman, but wants to be a better person.
We're all navigating through the uncharted digital waters now, trying to make sense and get ahead in an era of exponential change. So how do you approach business challenges personally, especially with so much technological change across the landscape?
Easily, because for me, that is the norm, right? Yeah. I'm an extreme advocate and loud voice of embrace change, invest in the future, to me, as long as I'm making payroll, then I'm achieving what I need to be doing. So I'm not maximizing profit on a yearly basis, which allows me to invest, which allows me to grow. And that's what I'm passionate about. And so, to me, if you are not recognizing that technology is going to put you out of business, then you are very naive. My friends here, Jason, we're doing stuff in the sports card world. It's really his world. It's a passion of mine. I've gotten rebooted in it. We're talking about, I was thinking about wholesalers just now, people that buy the cards from the manufacturers and then resell them. They're making so much margin on the hot product that, if you just think about what technology can do and where it's going, like anybody in the middle, a bookstore's in the middle, Toys R Us is in the middle, like anybody in the middle, from the person that makes the product to the person that consumes the product, anybody in the middle is vulnerable and technology is coming after you. And so I highly recommend, if you're in the middle, that you pay attention to that statement.
So how do you stay hungry, though? And do you fear the day that when you do it, inevitably